All right, good morning, guys. Good morning, welcome back, everyone. Let me just move the screens over here. Good morning, guys. YouTube guys, Zoom guys, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Oh, the light's gone already. That's good. Give me 2 seconds, guys. There we go. We're back. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, guys. Happy Thursday, everyone. Let's have a look here. Gold had some pretty choppy price action yesterday, guys. Let me just move these screens around. Make sure you guys can hear me all loud and clear. Let me just also get up the currency chart as well. And before we do anything, as always, guys, let's have a look at the news for the day as well. Welcome back soon, guys. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good week in the market so far. Audio and video good. Awesome. Thank you, man. Welcome back, everyone. You guys on YouTube, welcome. If you guys are new here, my name is Aaron, also known as Aaron Trades. I've been trading gold for the past 7 years, mainly focusing on the European session. Live with you guys. We'll be trading here for the next hour and a half, see what we get for the London session. And a little, yeah, it's a duty empty room. Yeah, I'm just in a little co-working office, which I got. So hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's not too bad. But yeah, there might be a little bit of an echo, but hopefully it's all good because I have this for the next month. So hopefully it's okay. Cool, awesome, Patrick, thank you, man. So news today, guys. Remember yesterday we did have we had that PPI news. Today we do have CPI at 1:30 London time, which is going to be very, very big news. CPI for the US dollar is going to be very, very, very big for gold as well. So lots to jump into today. You guys who were here yesterday, remember we took a little loss buying gold up here. It ended up doing exactly what we wanted. We spoke about gold. You guys remember yesterday we spoke about most people trying to short here, stop sitting above, and we were trying to buy up into where most people were trying to sell. So some of you guys were saying, you know, why would you short there? That's not a place to short. Well, that's exactly why. Sorry, not a place to long. Well, that's exactly why you buy. You're buying into where most people are trying to sell, and that's exactly what gold did yesterday. It took until like 9:30. I did get back in this position and got a nice piece of the pie back, but it's one of them trades where you just kind of had to execute it and walk away. But it was a very, very, very nice push, and it was all explained in our London stream as well. Most people trying to short here, stop sitting above. Had this nice head and shoulders level that we also spoke about. You guys remember we spoke about this yesterday. Beautiful left shoulder head. There's your right shoulder. Now gold having a decent retracement and pullback. So in terms of any big moves today, guys, remember there's going to be no big moves in the markets. You're probably going to be playing in ranges today in London. It is CPI day today, and I'll also be on fast markets later on as well at 8:30 Central Time. So we'll see what London brings. If not, you know, we'll very likely be waiting for that big US dollar news. Now, Asia today, let's have a look at see what Asia's done so far. Kind of squeezed lower here, which is kind of nice. You have already come back down to some pretty decent support and having a pretty decent bounce here, which is, again, pretty solid. Now, with where gold's coming into, we're coming right back. Sorry, wrong tool. We are coming right back into some pretty strong support here as well. So we've just bounced here, and now we're coming right back to here. So like I said, guys, before CPI, you know, gold's going to be very, very tough to trade, especially when you're already kind of having this much of a bounce. Up into these highs, you know, you're maybe just about squeezing 30 ticks. It's a very, very, very tough range here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, man. Good morning. Do you not go live on your channel anymore? I don't, because we're live here on the Topstep stream instead. I may bring back the pre-London streams at some point, but to be honest, it's pretty early for me here to just watch pre-London not do very much. So I prefer to kind of save it for the London Open. I might bring them back at some point, but yeah, the pre-London sessions just kind of got to a point where we were just watching price do nothing, and we were literally just sitting there for the sake of sitting there. You know, our best trades are the ones where we execute and walk away and let the trade do its thing. So as of right now, we're just sticking to the London Open sessions here on Topstep. I'll still be posting lots of content on my YouTube channel, but as of right now, yeah, the live streaming is just going to be here. Otherwise, I was spending like 3 hours sat in front of these charts, which is just way too long for me, especially being here in Spain. You know, I'd have to be here at like 7 a.m., which I don't really have the desire to watch the charts that early and then watch the London Open. You're not really going to miss anything. Good morning, Aaron. How are you? Good morning, man. I'm good, thank you, man. I'm good. So hope you're doing well. You're long from 63.8 Nice. Long from 63.8. Oh, down here, very nice. Very, very, very nice. Yeah, kind of bouncing back up here. I'm expecting a bit of a range day today on gold. A bit of a range before CPI. Now, it doesn't mean you can't trade, but it will be much smaller scalps. We'll have a look at NQ as well. Second entry for the buy yesterday was just here. Once you start breaking above, I just took it. To be honest, anywhere around here, I was like, as long as we don't close below this level here, we are buying gold. That's kind of what we said on stream. You know, this was the level where most people would be trying to short here, sitting stops above, but we're trying to long up into where most people are trying to sell. Excuse me. So it's one of them trades where I literally just took it, set my alerts, set my hard TPs and stop loss, and went to the gym, got notified when I was on the go, and then had a very, 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 very nice position. What was it? Here. So one at 5.10, and then the other one at 2.30, and that was that loss we took here as well. So two good trades, you know. Sometimes the market doesn't move the second you enter. It might chop around for a little bit, and you might get stopped out. But like I was saying to you guys yesterday, you know, that doesn't mean the trade's invalid. The direction for the trade yesterday was still valid. You just have to give it a little bit more time. And the more you kind of ranged around these highs, the more likely you were getting in more people to bring in more sellers. So when you kind of hover around these liquidity levels and you don't break below the support, then I'm like, okay, cool. This is a strong level where I know most people are going to be trying to short here, sitting above. So at any opportunity, I just want to be getting in. Let's have a look at NQ. Most markets are going to be a little bit tough this morning, guys. Remember, CPI for the US dollar is going to be very, 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 very big for the markets. Let's have a look at NQ here. NQ had a pretty decent push higher off PPI yesterday, and then it kind of got completely retraced. So with this decent push up, came all the way back down, and now you're coming higher again. So you came very close to some new all-time highs on NQ. So you have all-time highs from back on the 13th of August. You just create this nice double top, which is good because, again, same as gold. I think this will bring in a lot of early sellers, and you very likely could squeeze this higher. So no bottom wick on this daily. 4-hour time frame here on NQ. Let's have a look here. Bearish came down, holding support. Bullish, bearish, bullish. So again, it's going to be another market that's going to be completely choppy leading up to CPI. So if you do trade before CPI, you know, just accept that risk. And if you don't want to trade before CPI, well, then just trade a combine or trade a practice account or just reduce your size. But don't try and trade before CPI, take a loss, and then be like, oh, damn, I knew I shouldn't have traded before CPI. If it's not in your plan to trade before CPI, well, then just don't do it. For me personally, if I'm going to trade a CPI before CPI, I'm very likely going to be doing a small risk or just forward testing or maybe even just fire up a combine. But yeah, this is a nice morning star play here on NQ. Nice morning star play. Closed nice and bearish, came down, tagged the lows. Doji holding some pretty decent support here. Nice resistance. Look at this. Broke above, support, broke, resistance, support, support. Now squeezing back higher. Now with where NQ's coming into though, you're right back at the highs of the range. So that's the only tough thing, is to enter new trades here on NQ. You'd need to see a little bit of a breakout. You need to see a little bit of a breakout. So maybe the London Open will give us something here. Let's see, guys. Long Euro futures. Let's have a look. Who was it that was long Euro yesterday? And we said don't buy the Euro. Where was the Euro trade yesterday? Let's have a look. Someone was long Euro yesterday. I can't remember who it was, and I said, "Don't buy the Euro," and it ended up squeezing lower. I'm not sure if it's the same person, but Euro is bearish. I'm hoping it's not the same person that was long yesterday, because I said don't buy Euro yesterday. Euro ended up having a complete sell-off. Yeah, it was, yeah. But euro is still bearish. Look at it. You've just been closing bearish for the past 2 days. So personally, I wouldn't be buying the euro. Euro is squeezing lower, holding again though. Look at this. Look at this weekly, holding resistance, holding support. If you're going to see again, if you're going to see a push on the euro, it's going to be with CPI later on as well. So try not to get too chopped up before that news. But yesterday again, you tagged highs bearish, continued selling off yesterday. Yesterday was pretty easy sells. You know, why was yesterday easy sells? Well, we spoke about it. You broke above, you tagged highs, broke right back into the range, and you're just breaking previous lows, squeezing lower. So top wicking, continuing to sell off. You know, you had a bearish engulfing candle on Tuesday, continued selling off on Wednesday, and you might even squeeze a little bit lower here today. So let's have a look here. 4-hour time frame. It's not to say, you know, you can't start to have a bit of a turnaround on the euro, but what has the trend been for the past 2 days? Well, it's been pretty bearish. You know, you do have some support down here. Definitely. Depends on, you know, are you looking for a big pullback to some highs, or are you looking for a little bit of a scalp? You do have to remember with the euro, you're very likely not going to see that big of a push before CPI. You'll very likely create a pretty big range, and then CPI will come out, and then you'll have the real move. But you can kind of see here on the euro, you're playing support, broken, huge push down, resistance, support. So a little bit of a range here on the euro. If I wanted to buy the euro, personally, I'd wait for a bit more of a breakout. You can kind of even see, here. Let's bring this a little bit here. You had support there. You've broken it. You've held it. So if you get back above, then maybe you could see some longs. You are tagging some. Do you tag these lows here? If you have a double, yeah, cool. You just tag the low. So if you can break out from here, it's not a bad idea for a pullback. But again, I would be careful trading something like the euro before CPI. So let's have a quick look at gold, guys. We got London open in about 10 minutes as well. Gold having a pretty decent bounce off this support. But look where you're coming back into. Gold's kind of unfortunately right back at that resistance as well. Look at this. Right back at the highs. So let's see if this see how this London's going to open here for gold, and then we'll see some other markets as well. Sammy chilling in the background. He's walking around here somewhere. Hello, buddy. There he is. Hello, buddy. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look. What you said about oil? Longs look like they're setting up. Let's have a look. How's the oil looking? Wow, look at that weekly. So you had that massive bounce off 62, which is pretty decent. Again, let's get rid of this. So huge support on oil. Pretty decent bullish breakout yesterday. Instant bottom wick here of the daily. So yeah, this looks much nicer already. 4 hours been pushing down. No bottom wick on this current 4 hour. But again, though, look at this. You're coming right back into a pretty decent level of support. So yeah, oil longs look much nicer. I would be watching potential longs up into yesterday's high. And there's also, like I said, there's no top wick on this daily time frame. So I'll be watching this daily open and yesterday's high. Which is, where is it? Brings across here. Let's do it again. That's that daily open level. So potential oil longs up into this daily. Yeah, this does look nice. This looks much nicer than probably anything we've looked at so far this morning. You had a decent breakout yesterday. You're coming down for an instant bottom wick. You have the daily open that's very likely going to create that top wick. You also have potential yesterday's highs. But even again, for a trade before CPI, I would even just play this little range here. And that looks like a pretty decent range. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning, man. I should pull the trigger more frequently. I always tend to wait for another last pullback. For example, Mr. Perfect entry long at 8 this morning. Any advice? But there's no I should pull the trigger more. What does your plan tell you should do? And if you don't have a plan, then that's probably the reason you're hesitating. So there's many different reasons why people hesitate. Either they're trading the P&L too much, they're too scared to lose, or they have crazy over-analysis paralysis. So there's a few different reasons why you're not being able to pull the trigger. But remember, everyone always waits for the perfect setup or the perfect entry with the perfect risk reward. It's not about being perfect. Especially in the earlier days, your job's not to be so over-refined and have, the perfect entry with the perfect stop and the perfect exit. It's not about that. It's about getting consistent. So you need to have an actual trading plan that removes that thought process. There's no thought process of if I should be in a trade right now. Is the trade there or not? And if the answer is no, then cool. There's no reason to be in the trade. There's no reason to get FOMO. But I mean, like this on gold, if you're waiting for a bit of a pullback, well, this has already had the push up. If you're not already in this, then yeah, you have to see a pullback because you're not going to start buying from here. Because with this gold bounce, you're buying off the support. You're not buying at the resistance. So in this example with gold, yeah, the same as me right now. I need to see this pullback before I can potentially take this higher. But if you missed, your perfect entry, though, then that's your trade for the day. Unfortunately, if you continue to trade after you missed what was your perfect entry that followed your plan, then you will kick yourself if you take a loss. Because if I know I should have been buying from here, but I didn't get the buys from down here for whatever reason, maybe I just wasn't on the charts, and I start buying from here, then that's breaking my rules. So then, therefore, I just will walk away for a couple of hours and wait for my plan to come up again. Because that's that's one of the worst things you can do is when you should have been in long from down here, but you didn't get it for whatever reason, you start chasing up here, and that's when the big tilt comes. That's when the big losses come. That's when the revenge trading comes, and that's when all the big losses come. So if you missed your entry or your trade for whatever reason, well, guess what? We're not perfect, but that next trade's always right around the corner. Yeah, exactly, Patrick. Yep, absolutely. The next setup comes faster than it feels like it will. Exactly, man. That next trade's always right around the corner. It's not about you're never going to catch every single trade you look at. You're going to miss trades. Trades are going to go without you. That's trading. We're not here to be perfect. So Goldie having a little bit of a squeeze here on the currency chart. EggQ having a little bounce here as well. So two decent moves here pre-London. Can we look at copper? Let's have a look. So obviously copper's still been pretty tricky since that huge sell-off in July. The way that I kind of look at this is though, you make them up for one more drive higher, maybe a potential reversal signage. You have this 1, 2, maybe third drive into the highs one more time. You're still looking pretty bullish here on the daily time frame as well. Again, though, look at this weekly. Bullish, doji, bearish, bullish, tagging highs, bearish, tagging lows, bullish. Looks pretty choppy. I think there's nicer opportunities out there right now. But if I had to give a say, well, what have we kind of done here? What have we done? Let's have a look. So you kind of bounced off this nice support, which is good. You've now come right back into this resistance. You've had a pretty decent push up yesterday. So you make it a little bit of a pullback from this resistance, come down and maybe hold some levels before you potentially go higher. Or if I did want to buy copper into a new high above these highs here, I would probably have to see either a pullback or a little bit of a breakout. Again, this is the 4-hour time frame. We'll drop down in a second. So you kind of got big 4-hour resistance here. You tried to break above it. You broke right back below. Now you're holding it as resistance. So you kind of got, let's have a look here. What have we got? So copper does love to do that like gold. It breaks the support, brings in lots of sellers. You end up breaking back above. You break above the resistance, you hold it, you end up breaking back below. So you do get a lot of fake out plays on copper as well, which is nice. In here though, it looks pretty messy. If you can close above, they're great. I would say longs look good. If you can close below, then you may get a little bit of a pullback to yesterday's sort of breakout level. But in terms of new trades here on copper, this range looks pretty messy. I think there's nice opportunities in copper. Even that silver trade, oil trade we looked at, that looks much nicer than this on silver. To me, this looks like a pretty tough range. Gold tag and previous day lows, yeah, maybe. Doesn't really matter too much what we think. If it happens, if we get a breakout, we can short into it, great. But it's not really a level of interest looking at this. You kind of tagged lows and closed bullish. I don't really see a need. I mean, you might come down to those. Not really like it is where I say, you know, you need to grab these lows. But it's also just in a pretty messy range. Like look at this on gold. It's, you know, we still got I got some decent trades in here yesterday, but this is still very, 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 very tough. Very tough, especially in here. But I mean, if you break below the support, then you can be like, okay, cool. Now you're going to come for yesterday's lows. But when you're up here, I'm not really thinking too much about yesterday's low. You know, we're targeting daily lows yesterday because you tagged highs and closed bearish. So yesterday, you know, we're short against these lows absolutely. So that was the day to short into daily lows. But when this tags lows and closes bullish, not really too much of interest to me. Not to say you can't grab the lows, but yesterday's lows aren't really something I'm really looking at. What do you think about this 30-minute bearish rejection on the currency? All right, we've got London open here, guys. Well, 30-minute bearish closure. How did the hourly just close? That's more important. Hourly just closed bullish. So is a 30-minute rejection enough to short against a 100-tick hourly bullish candle? Not really. That's pretty strong to me. So although the 30-minute might have closed a little bit doji, the hourly, even if we look here, although this 30-minute closed doji, what did the previous 30-minute do? Still had a huge breakout. Still had a tagged lows, closed very bullish. So this isn't enough for me to take a short. I wouldn't trade against, 110 tick, which is a huge candle. I wouldn't short against a 110 tick 30-minute bullish engulfing candle just because you had one doji candle at resistance, personally. Not to say we can't, but if I was to short gold, well, you can kind of see here, look at this. We had nice support here. Support, you broke it, resistance, push lower, you broke above, held it as support. So as long as you hold this, you could push higher. If you close below this support, then great, then I can say, okay, cool, now I'm going to look to get some shorts. So with kind of where gold is right here, kind of want to see a little bit of a breakout here. Instant bottom wick on this hourly. So you had a bullish engulfing 30-minute candle, and you also had a very bullish engulfing pre-London hourly candle as well. Look at this pre-London candle. Tag lows, very bullish. So you kind of got intraday support here, and resistance here. Four-hour looks ugly as well. Yeah, let's have a look at the 4-hour in the currency. Let's have a look. Let me go. Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this currency chart here. I mean, the analysis kind of played out from the Asia call last night, saying to bounce off the support before coming lower. This is what we shared on. Where are we? This is what we shared on the Asia market. So price to come down, break back high, and then come lower. We pretty much did exactly that. But if we get rid of all this for a second, let's have a look. So daily, again, guys, don't, it seems like a lot of you guys are trying to overanalyze before CPI. You have CPI later on. All you're going to do today is play ranges. But daily time frame, tagged highs bearish, tagged lows bullish, pull them back a little bit. 4-hour here on the currency, tagged highs bearish, Currently a little bit doji, finding some support, finding some resistance. Hourly chart here, tag lows bullish, coming down for a bottom wick. So on this currency chart, right now, what do we have? We have support right here, and we also have resistance right here. So you can, we can sit here and we can think as much as we want. That's the reality of what we have in here. You have resistance here, you have support here, you also have CPI later on. So anything can happen here on gold. Let's have a look at some other charts here, guys. I'm not really a huge fan of gold here. Unless we close below the support, then maybe you can short it. But if you see this push down now and you go, oh yeah, I'm going to now short this. I told you. But you're at hourly support. At any point this wicks back up, you're going to kick yourself. Again, kind of same thing here in NQ, unfortunately. You bounce off support here pre-London. You're back at the resistance. No, I haven't really, Damon. No, I haven't really used it too much, man. I've looked at it before, but it kind of felt like it was giving me a reason to hesitate. But if it works, amazing, man. For me personally, the more things I look at, the more times I end up hesitating or missing a trade because I'm looking at too many other things. But that's not to say you can't use it. For me personally, I like to keep it clean. I got it working pretty well here, so I don't really feel the need to really change too much. Let me just see. Let's have a look. So yeah, NQ having a bit of a bounce. Goldie back at the hourly support. What about NQ? NQ is just, again, a bit of a tough one. Again, you have CPI later on. You've already had a very decent bounce off this support. So in hindsight, buying down here pre-London would have been great. But now you're back at the resistance. You kind of want to see a little bit of a breakout here. Look at this 4-hour on NQ as well. Big 4-hour resistance, big 4-hour support. Yeah, definitely have something you can keep on like a separate chart to look at. Yeah, absolutely. Bearish trend line from the all-time high. Rejecting of that VWAP at the moment. Looking for a sign long into the trend line. Would you agree? For gold, let's have a look. For gold, yeah, you do have a nice trend line. That's very true. Kind of got if you're looking at this one, you kind of got a decent trend line coming down here, which is great. This is why I like gold longs here. You got a decent trend line coming down here. You like you say, again, the daily tag lows and close bullish yesterday, so you are looking for this to kind of drive higher, especially with this trend line. You get a lot of people trying to short this trend line. Now, give you more of a reason to buy up into where most people are trying to sell. That's the way that we like to trade these trend lines. You spot a trend line coming down, it's not, unfortunately, trying to short third touches of trend lines doesn't work anymore. So if you can look for long opportunities up into that, amazing. But again, if I'm going to, if you're going to see a big push into this trend line, it's very, very likely going to come with CPI and into the New York session. But yeah, I agree. I like that trend line. That trend line looks nice. Again, if CPI does come out bearish for gold, then where could gold also come back to? Could easily come back to these breakout levels. So if you're going to tag these lows, you're probably going to come much lower. You could see gold potentially come back down to 3,600. Again, all depending on how that news comes out. That news is going to be the real decider here today. Let me just have a look. Let's have a look here. Goldie. Look at this. Tagging bearish, tagging lows bullish, bearish. Again, if this closes bearish, guess what? You could go right back up. Let's have a look at the euro. Let's have a look. I mean, yeah, the euro longs don't look too bad, but again, you'd want to see a bit of a breakout. Again, euro very likely to range before that news. I would say pretty much most markets are going to create some pretty big ranges before that news. Oil longs do look interesting as well, but again, you're clearly finding some sort of intraday resistance. So if you want a long oil, well, you just created some intraday resistance, which makes sense. You got support, broken, resistance. So I would say, say if you can get a bit of a breakout on oil, then that could actually be nice. It's 9 a.m. for me here, man. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. here. Good morning, mate. Good morning, man. Good morning. Could we screen the euro as well? Yeah, we already had to look at the euro. I look at the euro a few times, but euro is, again, it's not going to have a big move until you get that CPI. But a bit of a pullback long from here could be nice. We called nice euro sells yesterday, but with where the euro is right now, it's a pretty big make or break level. So it's all going to be dependent on where that news goes. Good morning, man. Gold going crazy. Yeah, gold's going crazy. Time you typically waking up and going to bed? Be awake for... No, I don't trade 3 sessions, man. I trade London, that's it. I don't trade 3 sessions. I spend maybe 2 hours on the charts a day max. I definitely don't trade 3 sessions. 2 to 3 hours on the charts is max on what I'm spending on it. I don't trade Asia, and I don't really trade New York. I sometimes trade a little bit pre-New York, but not really. I definitely don't trade Asia anymore. Pretty much just trading London. That's the day. Should get up for Asia slacking. It's been so much nicer to just trade the one session and just not even think about the charts the rest of the day. It's the way everyone should be doing. If you guys are spending, trying to trade 3 sessions or trying to trade multiple sessions and spending hours on hours and hours in front of live markets, you're going to burn out at some point. The goal, everyone got into trading for the freedom, so don't be glued to charts. If anything, I trade probably better the less time I spent actually staring and watching it. Like yesterday's trade, literally just take it as long as it doesn't close below the support. Well, just hold it and walk away. Held the support many of times, and end up filling a whole entire 130 tick range. One contract's a $1,300 trade right there. Beautiful. So gold trying to find some support here, guys. Remember, if you chase these shorts, you're shorting gold at hourly support. You're shorting gold at hourly support. If anything, if this wicks back up, like I said, you could look back and kick yourself. So this is where gold's at. So if you chase this before you know it, previous hourly tagged lows bullish, this could easily find some support and have a little bit of a pullback. So personally, I wouldn't get too excited with this pullback on Goldie. Let's have a look at the pound. Remember, guys, CPI 1:30 London time, and I will be on fast markets today as well at 8:30 Central Time. So hopefully we can trade post CPI. See if we get some New York trades. Have a look at the pound here. Let's have a look at the pound. Let's get rid of this. I've been on it a few times, man. Been a good few times on it. 2 weeks ago or something, I think. Looking at the pound here, though. Pound does have a very nice double top here. Pound, nice double top. Bit of a doji candle close yesterday. Again, still, I think a lot of people will be trapped in some shorts here on the pound. You may see the pound go high here as well. You do have some, let's see, Kind of got some support down there. Let's have a look. Again, look how choppy the pound was until you had that PPI news yesterday. You ranged the whole entire day. You came all the way up for a massive liquidity grab, and then sold right back off. So if you did that with PPI, CPI is probably going to have an even bigger move. So you may, if you can, maybe creep down before the news, then you might see something like that for the pound. Let's have a look here. Goldie. Do you ever look at delta divergence? Thoughts about that? No, it's not something I use, man. Not something I use personally. Doesn't mean you can't. Doesn't mean you can't use it though. But it's not something I personally look at or take any interest of. But again, like I say, just because I don't use it doesn't mean you can't use it. What I use is what you see on my charts is exactly what I use. Price action. These liquidity levels. So if Goldie closes bearish here, could you look for a bit of a sell-off? Yes, you could. But what has the 30-minute told us so far today? We closed bearish. Then what do we do after? We push right back up. So we had a huge bullish engulfing. We then closed doji. Then we push lower. So would it be that surprising if this 30-minute does close bearish to see this next candle just completely do this? Not really. Or not, maybe not even do that. Maybe just do this. Personally, to me, it wouldn't be that surprising. So I kind of see this push down here on gold and just go, okay, cool, fine. Personally, for me, and the way that we trade is if the hourly has just closed tag and lows with a 110 tick bullish candle, well, then I don't short the next candle. Shorting this candle isn't even a thought process of mine. Because what will happen most time is like this. Look at this. You tag lows, close bullish. You end up having a 250 tick run, which is very, very nice. Kind of actually looks, on the 30-minute now, actually looks pretty similar to this. Look at this. See here? Tag lows bullish, doji, bearish, tag lows all the way back higher. Kind of looks pretty much like we just said in this 30-minute. Tag lows bullish, doji, bearish. Could it go all the way back higher? Maybe. Let's see. First 50-minute close the London session there. Did close bearish here on gold. Broke below very, very minor intraday support. To me, this could still wick higher. Let's see. Again, yeah, NQ as well. NQ doesn't look tough. NQ looks very, very tough. Good morning. Welcome back, everyone. Everyone just tuning in. Let's see, guys. And you guys on Zoom, if you have any charts on it from that, feel free to send it over. Look at some trades. You guys send over some questions, etc. as well. Silver, yeah, we have absolutely. Look at silver. Let's see. So silver's been on a crazy run. To me, it looks like silver's ready for a bit of a pullback. Again, though, wow, look at this daily. Look at this daily time frame here on silver. This has been kind of been in this big range since 2nd of September. So very, very, very big range here on silver. What I do like on silver though is you have tagged the highs of the range, but you haven't quite tagged the lows. So if this was a big daily chop. So you came up, you tagged the highs. So to me, if I, again, this daily range would get me pretty skeptical to want to trade anything. But these lows down here from the 2nd of September look like a pretty decent target. So I think intraday though, again, we might get a decent move here on silver with CPI, where we could see a bit of a pullback short, which would actually be really nice. So silver, silver shorts could be interesting. The Goldie short, nice. Closing 10 a.m. if it doesn't hit. Yeah, nice, good idea, man, good idea. Stay very reactive. Bitcoin, yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. I know you did have a pretty decent run yesterday. Let me see my currency chart here. Yeah, very decent run here. I think we spoke about this yesterday. Bitcoin to come back up into this 115,000 level. Let's get rid of these levels. Now, again though, Bitcoin is back at this big make or break level. If you start breaking back above 150, you could see some decent bullishness. But this is big resistance where I would expect an initial reaction from here. So you have big resistance 110, big support. Big resistance 115, big support at 110. Again, CPI will be a big mover here as well. But this is pretty big daily resistance where I'd expect just a little bit of a pullback before potentially squeezing higher. Bring in some sellers, have a bit of a pullback, and then you could see a bit of a breakout on Bitcoin as well. But I would say, yeah, intraday, I'd be looking for this to have a squeeze lower. Goldie no top, look at this Audi guys right back down. Be careful here, you're bearish, bullish, bearish. If you can't trust hourly price action, then how can you even trade? So if you're bearish, you try to go short, no, right back up. Cool, you try to go long, right back down. So if this pushes down, could you go right back up? Very possible. This is one I will keep on the watch list though for a potential, not really a scalp, but more of a trade you could execute and hold for a good few hours. Silver shorts back down to this 41 level do look pretty interesting today. Again though, if you're going to get a big move like that, it's very likely going to come on a CPI. Aaron, how do you keep yourself consistent and don't go on tilt or go on overconfident? It happens, man. It happens. No one's perfect. It happens from time to time. But a good way to stop it is to use these amazing features here on Topstep. There's my set your daily loss limits. You literally have everything here built into Topstep X to stop you from tilting and going too overconfident. But it absolutely happens. You get urges every now and again to chase that trade or FOMO into a position. But like I said to you guys, it's whenever I do feel certain emotions, I'm completely okay with taking a step back. Whereas most people can't bear to not be in a trade 24/7. But for me personally, if I'm going through a bit of a tough period in the markets, which is completely normal, I just walk away. Walk away, come back tomorrow or come back the next day. Even like CPI, you might say to yourself, you know what, CPI today, I'm just completely not going to trade. That's a very smart decision. And guess what? The markets will still be here tomorrow, and they'll still be here next week as well. So take advantage of these tools here. Set your contract limits, set your trade limits, set your personal daily loss limits. And if they get hit, well then cool, you're out for the day. So for me here, even on 100K, 750 is more than enough. I'm never really risking more than 750 in a day. So if I hit 750 for the day, well then I'm probably just not feeling that day, and that's me locked out, come back tomorrow. But if you don't set them, limits, then it's very easy to go on tilt and get too overconfident. If anything, I've had big losers more so from being overconfident than actually being in a losing streak. My biggest losses in trading have come from big winning streaks, not big losing streaks. I kind of learned that lesson the hard way as well. You know, you can wipe out a month's worth of gains in literally a couple of hours. So you always have to stay very neutral and very grounded, and just remind yourself of the trading plan every day. And always tell yourself, you know, these markets are going nowhere. If you jump on today and you're not really feeling it, or you jump on, you know, you can't jump on because you have busy family life, etc. You can't be on the charts one day, you know, it's totally fine. The market's going to be here tomorrow. They're going to be here the next day. They're going to be here the next day after that. NQ breaking out. Yeah, trying to break out. NQ not really. Again though, look at where are you breaking out into? You're breaking out into still. You got 4-hour resistance right here. So it's kind of like saying, you know, same as NQ. You know, if you're buying NQ, you're buying from down here. Me personally, I'm not buying here to buy right up into resistance. At any point, this can wick straight back down. Again, it's just me personally, but I personally wouldn't be buying NQ here. If you're buying NQ, you know, you had a lovely 15-minute liquidity grab and a breakout here. Grab the lows, break out with clear targets above. So 715 would have been beautiful. Personally, for me, I wouldn't buy 4-hour resistance. 4-hour and daily resistance with no bottom wick on this daily. Goldie. Let's have a look here, guys. We're going to wait to see this 30-minute close. Good question, man. How long will you let the market settle after CPI, or will you just try and scalp it off? Probably just, it depends on how volatile it is, but probably like 15 to 30 minutes maybe. But I'll be on for fast markets anyway, so I will probably save it for the New York Open, and we'll trade the fast markets today. Goldie having a bit of rejection here, guys. Remember, back down at support, resistance. It's in a bit of a range, so don't get too overconfident or too excited here. We got the first 30-minute close of the London session coming up here as well. And then tomorrow, do we have anything tomorrow? Let me see what we've got tomorrow. Consumer sentiment at 3 p.m. London time, but that shouldn't really interrupt London. I think once we get today's big CPI out of the way, we should be pretty good. So 15, look at this, guys. 15 tagged highs bearish, continues squeezing lower right down at the support. So don't chase shorts down here. If anything, you're still at that hourly support. Remember, you showed it on the currency chart. You're still at that hourly support where you can still wick all the way back higher. See here? Currency chart could flip bullish at any point, even on this hourly. So I'm even a 15-minute breakout to go long would probably be a smart trade. Would be a much smarter play. Can you revisit copper? I'm long. Let's have a look there. Let's have a look. You're long from 61.75. Let's have a look, man. Let's have a look. I mean, good job on sharing your trade as well, man. Good job on sharing your trade. It's good to see people sharing their trades. Doesn't matter. Like I said to you guys, doesn't matter if the trade works or doesn't work. Sharing the trades and understanding the reasons behind it is how we grow. Personally, though, remember this is big higher time frame resistance right now. Hourly, you tag in previous hourly highs holding. You haven't quite got a 30-minute breakout yet. But I mean, if this can break out in 2 minutes, yeah, this looks good. So if me personally, what I was really wanting to see here on copper is to break out of this resistance, pull back, and then take it. So you haven't really broken out just yet. But again, we've got 2 minutes till this candle's going to close. Let's see if we can actually break it or not. If you tag these highs here and fail to close above, you might pull back a little bit. So although you did get a lower time frame breakout here, it's a higher time frame level of resistance. So if this 15 here closes back below, like this, then you're going to get that 30-minute closing with a big wick rejection, because this is the same 2 candles of that 30-minute time frame. And this is the open here, so the candle will probably look something like this. So it'll still be bullish, but it'll still be a pretty big rejection. So depending on how this 15 closes in 2 minutes, will be the real decider here. If you wick back above, amazing. But personally, I would wait to see this 30-minute close before you make any decisions. Because, you know, even if you wait for that 30-minute close, you know, you close it, you close above. Guess what? The next 30-minute is not just going to open and just rip. What's it very likely going to do? It's going to come down, give you that bottom wick, and then it's going to have the push. But what's more important is you actually get this candle confirming the breakout. So this candle here is the confirmation that I would need to see, and then the next candle would be my entry candle. Same thing with these, you know, these NQ longs here on that 15-minute time frame. This candle here, a lot of people get FOMO, but this candle here, this confirms liquidity grab, it confirms your breakout, and then this is your actual entry candle. So you have your confirmation, and then you have your entry. So same thing as copper right now. I'd want to see this 30-minute confirm, breakout, and then I'd wait for the pullback, and then you'd see if you can get it. Let's see here, mate. Yeah, huge trend line. 2 big trend lines. A pullback on gold would actually be really nice. Would you go along with a 15-minute morning star? It depends on this 30-minute close. 30 minutes is going to close in 20 seconds. If it closes like this, then no. I'd only take a 15-minute morning star depending on how 30 minutes closed. But if the 30-minute close is bearish, then a 15-minute morning star isn't really of interest. You know, I'd take let's say if this wicks all the way back above, then I'll drop down to the 15-minute, and then I might take a morning star. But with this 30-minute closing bearish, personally, I would not take a morning star play. Because you kind of, you know, 1 minute you're up, down. You only want to be dropping down to your low time frames once your higher time frame has confirmed the move. So a bit of an evening star there on Goldie, guys. NQ again. NQ. I mean, where have we gone? Trying to break out, but again, like I say, personally, I wouldn't be buying this NQ breakout. If you're buying NQ, it was back down to support, not back at 4-hour resistance. Let's see. I think oil was looking the nicest. Oil again, yeah. Oil. If you can break out from here. The euro still failing to really get back above here on the euro, still squeezing lower. So again, if this is hourly support that you've broken, well, guess what? You want to see an hourly closure above. Otherwise, if you try and buy this and it does this, you're gonna look back and go, why was I trying to buy that? There's no reason to buy the euro. You've broken support, you've held it as resistance, you're squeezing lower. So if you want to buy the euro, let price confirm the move. Same as copper right now. Let price confirm the move, break out, and then get your trade. Otherwise, like I say, if the euro ends up having a whole nother leg lower here, you'll look back and go, well, why on earth was I trying to buy that? You broke support, you held it, you pushed lower. Sometimes you can get too caught up with trading what you think, not what's right in front of you. What's right in front of you is price has broken support and has held it. That's all the thought process that's needed. Thinking what I would think looking back in the trade, if it went against me is good. Yeah, absolutely, man, 100%. It's sometimes so easy to think, oh yeah, I would have done this, I would have done that. But it's like, no, you also have to think, kind of like gold right now. You also have to think, you know, if you tried to short this and gold pushed up, you would look back at this hourly and go, why on earth was I trying to buy that? Why on earth was I trying to sell that? Same thing. Let's do it here, because this is what's so important here. This is why most people get too caught up just because something worked once. If we go back here, and let's go back here. If you were to short this just because you think price is going to go down, when in reality, you've grabbed lows and closed bullish. If you were to sell this you know, let's go. Where is it? How do we sell this? Where's the sell buttons gone? Where's the sell buttons gone? Here, trade. If we were to, you know, we just had this bullish engulfing candle. If you were to sell this, where is it? And then price pushes up. You'll look back at this trade here and you'll go, why was I trying to short that? We tagged lows and closed bullish. Why on earth would I short here? You wouldn't. So when you see it happening now, and you can try and convince yourself that, oh, I should have shorted this. Well, why would you have shorted this? You tagged lows and closed bullish. You broke above, you broke above the range. You did the exact same thing and had a huge drive higher. Again here, fake out, massive drive higher, fake out, just ranging before CPI. So sometimes people will say to themselves, oh, I knew I should have shorted here. But again, that's why people get too caught up on thinking about what happened once, because you don't actually have a plan of what tells you what happens over a long period of time. What happens one time on gold, unfortunately, isn't what is going to give you a successful, consistent trading career. What happens majority of the times and consistently is if you tag lows and you get a bullish engulfing candle, go look back, how often would it just pull back down? Especially off a fake out, 4-hour support, loads of different reasons. So YouTube guys, if you can see the markets are kind of ranging here. I am on fast markets later on as well. We've been on for about an hour here guys, but the markets aren't really going to do anything before CPI. I've kind of given my levels and analysis for the day. But personally, I'm going to save it till we jump on fast markets, which I'll be on at 8:30 Central Time. So if you guys are around, be sure to tune in. We'll see if we can get some trades once we get that CPI news coming out. Don't chase gold here. I still like gold to push up if we can break out. But this range, I'm not going to trade at all. I'm going to wait for closer to CPI. So hopefully I'll see you guys on the fast market session. Come along, say hello, and I'll see you guys then. If not, we'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get some much nicer markets and easier markets to trade. So trade safe, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.